Awesome sauce. Um, Kyle, are you uploading the presentation?
I think Taylor uploaded the presentation to the fractional project.
Oh,
We can
okay.
also, yeah,
Perfect. No, then I'll just share my screen. I just wasn't sure if the technical pieces of this, the admin piece. So
yeah, Taylor, we're good, yeah?
Yeah, it's uploaded to the fractional project. Um, but maybe, yeah, if you share your screen and go through it, that might work best.
perfect. No, of
Sweet.
course. All right. So first of all, I'm Ingrid Hernandez. A lot of you may know me through Sub2, hopefully through my weird text messages that you got really late last night or early this morning. And then my two business partners, Brian McMullen, um, in his awesome plaid shirt, and then and then Eric Richards. But in the presentation, we'll kind of break down who we are and what this project is. So first of all, I'm super, super grateful for all of you being here. I know that my investor journey has taken me different places. I started with single family houses. I still have a strong portfolio of single family properties, but now I'm starting to look at bigger assets, and that includes this commercial building. So we're excited about what we can do in specifically in small town America. If you guys are interested about some of the cool projects that myself and Eric are venturing into to help small town America, we even did a podcast about it because we're super excited about bringing affordable housing, about bringing more ownership to folks that don't always get that leg up, especially when you're talking about communities where you don't have this huge metro, right? And so the draw has to look a little different. But as responsible investors, we feel we still meet the needs of running a successful business, but at the same time having some great opportunities for the folks that live there. All right.
Cool.
Ohio Valley investor, Mr. Eric Richards. Okay, cool. So let me go and share the presentation, which has also been loaded into um, the guys. This is why you don't let the visionary present, by the way. So does my screen look okay?
Looks good.
Fantastic.
Okay. So this beautiful building is the primary project for our commercial REI debt club. The address is 853 to 857 National Road in Bridgeport, Ohio. That way you can look it up. I was surprised, by the way, to go to Ohio and see all these amazing trees, which you can see in the back, the back of the building. It's like, wow, like so much greenery. I love it. So these are the partners. Eric, who is in Ohio. He is got a lot of interdisciplinaries. He works acquisitions, does wholesaling, flipping, has a strong property management company, and also runs a podcast. So I got to go and be with his team this past, where it was in June, July, and just saw how amazing and the culture that goes on around Eric. And again, like most of his teams are W-2 employees. So he's not just an investor, guys. He's actually bringing employment and job opportunities to this area. And I was extremely impressed by all that he's built in the last 3 years. And then there's me, again, Ingrid Hernandez. También hablo español, if that matters to you guys. I'm a real estate agent for the past 13 years. I found the Sub2 community and learned all the cool stuff that creative financing can do. And in fact, this opportunity includes creative financing. And so I've built my portfolio doing Sub2 stuff and raising capital. So I've raised capital for almost all my projects. Unless you can do some really cool Morby method stuff, which I was one of the first Sub2 students to do a Morby method. So all kinds of creative stuff. I'm the Arizona Regional Sub2 leader, and I also run my podcast, which I've been doing it for like 2.5 years now, called Explain It. And then we have Brian McMullen.
Like you talked those credentials up for you two right now, and then bring me in. Thanks.
No, sorry. And then we have Brian, who loves that plaid shirt. He is a capital raiser, focuses on acquisitions, and also does a podcast called Keep It Simple. So Brian is awesome. He actually introduced me and Eric this past March, yeah, at the Squad Up Summit. We all went for dinner, and I was explaining to Eric how some of my focuses are changing and where my investing was going. So after that, it was really great to get to meet Eric and just seeing some of the synergies that we all brought together. So collectively, the team has over $17 million in holdings across our assets across 9 states. And all of that's been accumulated in the last 5 years. So I feel like we've ran pretty fast. And hopefully that encourages all of you to see how we're great operators. So anywho, that's where we're at with that. So the property, this mixed-use commercial building is in Bridgeport, Ohio. It's a really gorgeous building. It was purchased through seller financing. So as mentioned, it was through creative financing for $350,000 in towards the end of 2024. The team, so Eric and his partner, bought it for with a down payment, I believe at the time of around $40,000. And the current balance right now is $290,000. So it's currently owned at 3% interest, no balloon. And then the rental income it's getting right now is $3,800 with its 4 current tenants. And we're going to dive a little bit deeper on that and just how much this building is actually doing for the community of Bridgeport. So obviously, with only 26% occupancy, there is a lot to still do with this building and maximize its value. Eric's current partner is being requested to be bought out of this building and a few other assets that they own together. So this part of this raise is for us to be able to do that, but also be able to bring more value into the Bridgeport building by maximizing some of the things that it needs. So what are those things that it needs? If you guys came from creative financing, you realize that at least in sub 2, we've primarily focused on single family homes up to maybe the last, I don't know, 6 to 9 months. We've now been talking about other types of properties like RV parks, mobile home parks, things like that. And what makes it unique, because it's something that I didn't know until I started learning more about commercial, is that a property's valuation on commercial is based on the income that it generates. So part of what we want to do with those who join our club is to also showcase just how those numbers change by adding more value to this property. Firstly, the renovations that we have to do as partners are threefold, but the ones related to the raise that we're doing right now is really just phase 1. We'll also give you a sneak peek at the other 2 phases later on in the presentation, but I don't want to confuse you guys. I want you to know that this is just a phase 1 raise. So what is in the phase 1 raise? So as we mentioned, we have 4 units that are currently occupied, and the gross annual income of that is $45,600. Something we failed to add to our presentation, and we will improve it for the next time, is that our leases are triple net leases. So when you're like, Ingrid, how is it that this property is worth $585? Well, the taxes and insurance are currently paid by the current tenants. So that way our expenses as a building are actually mitigated. The current expenses for this property are around between $300 and $350 a month, and that's for some of the utilities around water and electricity. So for the most part, the NOI is pretty strong, even with only 4 tenants in the property. Now, the renovations related to phase 1, we're going to be adding what would then be a gross income of $118,800. So just doing like, I don't know, elementary math, right? We're more than doubling what that annual income is, so that the maths, right? The property value being $585 right now, it would render that the 1.3 million makes sense based on just the added income that would come. Just from a high level perspective, right? You have 45K-ish means 585. Okay. If I can more than double that, then of course the value would come up to 1.3. So how are we getting that done? Is we did a conservative review of the 7 apartments, which are 1 bed, 1 bath apartments on the top floor of the property. So the property has a main floor and then it has a second floor. And these 1 bedroom, 1 bath apartments are going to provide affordable housing in this community. So each one we're targeting to rent out for around $750. And because they'll be individually metered through some of the improvements that we make in this phase 1, they'll be responsible for their own utilities. So the outcome of an 80% occupancy rate would be $4,200 a month. Now, there is 10 apartments, but 3 of them are going to be converted down to office space. So what's really an important update is Eric has sold his current headquarters. So where he has his office right now, where all of his W-2 employees go. Eric, how many W-2 employees do you have in that office? Like
In office every day, I believe we're at 8.
8 people? Okay. So this is a committed guy. This is not virtual space, right? This is an office space. So he has just sold that headquarter. And it's imperative for him to actually start updating those apartments to be offices for those dedicated employees. And in fact, like I said, this is kind of a new revelation, is that he's actually going to get started on that piece of the project now because he has to. Otherwise, he's going to have a room full of W-2 employees that have no place to go. And I don't think it's a good measure to work from the streets. So that is something that he's working on right now. And then additionally, that lower picture that you see with those tables on the presentation, that is event space. That one of the very first renovations that we need to complete is adding a bathroom there. So that way we can start leveraging and marketing it out as event space. This is a pretty good sized town. However, it doesn't have a lot. I don't even think it has any event space that you're aware of. Is that correct, Eric?
None.
Right. So this is a much needed resource for the community. And then the other highlights I want to point out here is that NAMI is a current tenant right now which stands for National Association of Mental Impairedness. They have 2 years left on their lease on this property, and how this organization does good for the community is if you're somebody who has a family member who has some of this impairedness, you can actually take your family member, your whatever dependent there, and they'll take care of them during the day so that you can go to work. So this building is already doing a lot of good, as I mentioned. And then the other lease that we have in there is the Bridgeport Food Pantry. They also have 2 years left on their lease. And again, these are triple net leases. And they are making sure that obviously the community has food available. So you guys can feel good that what you're doing and how you're stabilizing this building is actually doing so much good for the community. And then lastly, there's a studio where Eric actually films his podcast, but he has another partner in there that it's already filling up fast. The people want to use that space to be able to do a lot of marketing, a lot of commercial productions, things like that. So this building is already getting a lot of use, even in its current form. So where are we? The funds that are currently being raised for this is to specifically update all of these things in phase 1, which is improve essentially the apartments upstairs and add a bathroom to that event space so that then we can quickly hit that ARV up to 1.3 based on what we believe is an 8% cap rate here and ultimately how we bring it together. Now, like I mentioned before, phase 2 and phase 3 are not part of this raise, but we want you to be aware that this building has so much more potential. So once all those things are in place, we actually believe, and who knows, maybe Ben Huang may have let the cat out of the bag on this, because we've actually talked to him already about this specific strategy. But we were thinking about putting a laundromat in that event space, because in this township, they don't have access to it. So they have to go pretty far away in order to get a laundromat access. So we feel that this would be something that the area would really strongly desire. And then for all the dreamers out there, we still have a lot of visions of what that flex warehousing space could look like in the basement. And so there's opportunities to also lease that. So we do believe this building will quickly be way more worth than the 1.3 that we're focused on for the first 12 months. Okay, and so that phased approach we talked about. The timeline for the rehab of these technically 10 apartments, right? 3 that we're converting into an office space, and then the 7 units. This is pictures of what it looks like so that you're familiar with it. Definitely needs some loving here. This is basically where the second floor office would be. That hallway that you see, those stairs, that would be Eric's team primarily going up those stairs, and then they would turn into their office space.
Oh,
And then the apartments. Sorry, Brian, did you want to say
I
something?
just said it's also the access to the apartments behind it, behind the offices.
Oh, yes. It's also access to the apartments as well. And by the way, I can't see all of you because I have it in presentation mode. So whenever you feel like you need to dart in there, let me know. So, and then these would be the apartments that would need improvement in order for us to rent out. And again, $750 for a 1-bedroom apartment is in the affordable range. So another approach that we can also look into is Section 8. Once we've improved the apartments, but it's not necessarily something we're targeting right off the bat. Okay, so why are we here? This would be the capital structure. So as we mentioned, our target ARV is very specific of 1.327863. And so our ask is to be able to raise $550,000. This will cover the rehab, the closing costs, fractional fees. No, I'm just kidding. We love fractional. Equity buyout, and then the acquisition fee. We don't expect to have this money out for longer than 12 months, but we're ranging between 8 and 12. And as I mentioned before, Eric is very motivated to quickly get an office set up for his team. So we feel we may even beat this, but we're trying to be conservative about what we communicate out. Our goal is to give you 14% annualized return. And then the interest-only payments will be paid back to you based on fractional's bi-monthly payout structure, which I believe they say they pay out on the odd months, right? So then we're talking like September, November, those months, like from a payout perspective. And then I'm sure you're asking, like, where's Bridgeport, Ohio, and why should we care? The Ohio Valley region is actually quite populated. They have close to 700,000 residents. And like I mentioned before, our collective vision is to help small town America, because a lot of investors go where the traffic is at, right? If you ever follow Pace or Jamil, they tell you, go look where all the traffic is at. And that sometimes takes people to metro areas, and not a lot of people focus on revitalizing small town America, where Eric and I and Brian, we want to do the opposite of that per se. We've seen that it's brought a lot of opportunities to the table, just like the Bridgeport building here. And then another big secret is there might be another building coming as a result of focusing on how we're going to revitalize this area. So here's some statistics about the folks that we're dealing with. So we do feel like renting out those apartments for $750 is within the range of what is affordable for this population. Okay. And once again, here's your partners if you choose to join us in our debt club. And again, I want to clarify, a debt club is basically a loan, right? So this would be money being lent through the club, and that this building would be the thing being collateralized so that we can give you a 14% return based on the projections that we have. Big disclaimer, if you guys are investors, there's some inherent risk. I'm not going to read all of this. If there's no risk, you're not really investing. So it's important that you guys read the disclosures of what you're doing in order to invest. And this, again, this presentation is loaded up to fractional, so it's totally up to you if you guys want some reading to do before you go to sleep.
So Ingrid, is that basically like a fund of funds then? Is that kind of like being a fund or a fund of funds? Because are there other people in this as well?
Yeah. So it's not a fund. So it's not a fund to fund, but yes, there's a collective into the club and for ultimately this project. I don't want to use the wrong language, more or less. So
Maybe Cal can.
Yeah, that language is perfect, Ingrid. So is now, no, I'll wait a little bit to share the
well,
fractional
this is the
project
last piece. Again, this is just a peek under the hood. We may or may not come back and tell you guys how we're going to continue to improve this building and how we might be able to partner with you guys once we've proven to you the amazing things we've done with the building. So we definitely want to build out either a laundromat or an even better event space, although I think we're leaning on the laundromat side. And then the basement, this is the basement, which is currently got a wrestling ring on it. I'll let you guys ask Eric why.
Hey, Eric, what's the square footage of the basement? That's that's basically not being used.
I believe it's almost 14,000 square foot.
Nice.
14,000 square foot that we're not even talking about yet. I think that's really says something right there.
Yeah, this building is beautiful. It has so much opportunity. So
And,
cool.
and quite frankly, the basement is a walkout. So it's a basement from the front of the building, but you go around the back of the building and you can see some of the pictures in there. It's not a basement. It's just a walkout.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a basement because of that. For sure. Cool. All right. So we had a really great question. So Kyle, do you want to take it away on how to specifically answer that? Okay.
And I will also share my screen and walk people through the fractional project and give you some background on that. And obviously, I will answer your good question along the way. So if you don't know me, my name is Kyle Brennan. I'm the Director of Investments here at Fractional. Stella Hahn here is our co-founder and CEO. There she is. If you want to say hi, interrupt me at any time, Stella. But this here is the fractional project that's built out to match the opportunity that Ingrid and the team just reviewed. You can even click into the deck that they just reviewed. You have access to review that here. It goes into the team, how this opportunity works, and I'll talk about this real briefly, and the fees and the disclosures. So to answer your great question about how this works, so let's say, so 550, the minimum investment is 15,000. Let's say that there's 40 investors in this opportunity. So Fractional will take those 40 investors and we will create an LLC for them. And those investors are now the owners and members of that LLC. And that's kind of like their club. That is their lending club. That is their lending business. And collectively, you are choosing to lend funds to Brian, Eric, Ingrid, and the team for this property, for this specific deal. So it's not a fund of a fund, but you have multiple people coming together to start their own lending business, their lending club, and you're choosing to lend Ingrid and the team the funds. So once you've read through this and you're like, you know what, I like this, you click the blue button and it'll say join project here. The minimum investment is $15,000, but it could be $20,000, $100,000, $15,422, just anything above $15,000. And then if you are new to Fractional, these buttons will say verify. You need to verify your personal identity with your social. Once you do that, then you can come into manage and you can set up a 401k, an SDIRA, a business entity, anything like that. Once you've set that up, it'll look like this. So I'm going to go ahead and select my business, continue to payment. Here, you'll see that $15,000 is equal to a 2.72% ownership. And that's of the LLC the LLC for $550,000. That's my percentage of ownership for the LLC, right? So when I commit to this project, I'm going to pay 3% deposit. This is my lock-in fee, non-refundable, only if the project leaders choose to not move forward. So that's $450. That's 3% of my investment of 15. I can pay the investment via credit card or bank account. Two things about the credit card. One is if you are paying the 3% deposit with the credit card, you cannot pay that for the 97% investment. It must come from a bank account, so an ACH or a wire transfer. Second thing is if you're using SD IRA, go ahead and commit with a personal credit card. Once fractional goes into the closing stage, we'll work with your custodian to release those funds. When those funds are released, we'll then reimburse you that 3% deposit. Go ahead and enter your information here. Make sure you're checking the checkbox here and go ahead and make your deposit. So right now, look at you, 15K, your first investor's already in. Once this gets up to 550, this deal will move into the closing stage. And that's where Fractional will create the LLC. The investors will get to view and vote on the operating agreement for your LLC. The project leaders will supply their promissory note and any other additional documentation needed for this deal. And all Fractional will then bring in all those funds, and then the money will be loaned out. So Fractional will stay on to be the neutral third-party manager. We'll do compliance and taxes for the LLC. We'll do K1s for every investor's personal taxes or their business taxes. And we're just that neutral third-party manager. You'll have a private community on Fractional. This is where the project leaders will give you updates. You'll host your quarterly or monthly calls, however often they're doing it. And you'll have your digital community to be involved in this deal moving forward. That is a lot of information, but it's recorded, and the recording will be circulated afterwards. But I'll put my email here in the chat if anybody has any questions about Fractional. Happy to answer.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kyle.
Welcome.
Cool. All right. So, do we have questions from the crowd? Thank you all for joining, by the way. I know that this is probably like dinner time and all the good stuff. So, really appreciate you coming out.
I have a question.
Hi, Chris. Yeah,
Hey, how you doing?
doing well.
Good, good. So I was just thinking, I've never invested in a project like this. How does like the insurance work? Let's say the place burned down. Um, is it covered for the total cost that we would be us investors inside of the $550,000 invest would be covered with an insurance policy? That if it was burned, it would be replaced.
Yeah.
I'm
Go
just
ahead,
curious
Eric.
how
He has
that
his hand up.
works.
Yeah, I
Yep.
can answer
Great
that.
question.
Brian, I understand that insurance is your forte, but so our insurance policy actually covers the rebuild amount, not what is owed. So the rebuild amount for this building is over 2 million. So what we would do is when the fund gets put together, it's an individual LLC that's going to come as the lender with all of you as members of it. That LLC would get added as an additionally insured on the policy. So it would be paid out, adjacently as soon as the insurance deems it was a total loss and everybody gets paid.
Yeah,
Great question, Christopher.
I've been getting that question for 25 years, actually. Yeah, the insurance policy covers the building, not the debt. And as long as the debt is underneath that building limit, we're not any problem, guys.
I want to say that the last time that I looked at the policy, and this was probably 4 months ago, it was like a $2.5 million policy for this building. If I had to rebuild it from scratch, everything like it is now, it's like 2.5 million. So,
Wow.
yeah.
It's a brick building, so it's
Yes.
that sucker is very solid. Great question, Chris. I love that question. Cool. And then so would probably be good is for us to also upload that insurance policy so that you guys feel good about the fact that you're covered. So I love it.
I'll reach out to them.
I think Travis has another question.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Do you have a contractor in mind already? Is this established? What does that side look like?
Oh my gosh, that's such an important part that we did not add to the slides. Thank you so
What?
much, Travis. I know. I'm going to blame Brian on this one,
Let,
but
let me
that's
just.
okay.
Who made these slides? My
So
goodness.
Eric Richards, what's amazing about Eric, he's one of the partners. He has a property management team, he has a wholesaling team, and he has a construction team. So the guy who needs to have that office built out also has the W-2 employees that need to build out the office.
Yeah.
So the good news is that he's controlling all those verticals. So the buck stops with us, guys. You know, we can't go, oh, well, the GC didn't show up. No, we are the ones in control of that. So hopefully you guys feel good about the fact that we can't give you those types of excuses. I'm be like, Eric, get up, go paint that wall like we said we were going to do it. So yeah.
I'd like to add to this. I mean, one of the reasons why Ingrid and I are working with Eric is because of who Eric is and what he does. I can't speak for everything Ingrid has been involved in with Eric, but I have personally, I'm a capital raiser and I raise funds for Eric. I've done 25 deals with him. I think it's over $2.3 million in lending over the last few years, of which I think you've paid back, I think close to 1.6 at this point. We still have some projects that are still outstanding.
Yep.
I enjoy Eric's business so much that I have invested with him. I own 8 doors with him, and I'm hoping to own more doors in the future. And so Eric's proven himself to me, and that's why I'm putting my name. And I think the same thing, Ingrid would say the same. So
yes, a big old ditto. Like I said, I met Eric in March, and just like all of you, you should trust but verify. So I flew my butt out to Ohio, checked out the operations, checked out the quality of work, checked out the culture in the office, because the culture in the office will tell you a lot. And so I was more than happy. And I think right now we have about 10 projects outstanding that we're working on together just since really April. So I'm very happy. One of the values that I've been able to provide to Eric is actually creating more automation and more processes in his business so that he can continue to scale. As you guys have heard, maybe this quote is, you don't grow to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And I take that to heart. I'm 20 years in food service as a professional integrator. Now I'm trying to kind of break free of that a little bit and focus a little bit more on the visionary stuff as a capital raiser. But we don't want to have that skill go spoiled. So I'm working actually with Eric's team to help them create processes. And one of the very first processes we focused on was private money lending communication. So at every 2-week mark, we're sending updates with pictures and videos of the progress made, making sure payments are being made on time. And then when the property goes on MLS, the next piece of this now, after the property goes on MLS, is having the agents provide feedback that will then get trickled down to our private money lenders. So the fact that Eric is open about continuing to improve his systems and making sure that we can continue to scale, it's why I've also partnered with Eric. Super.
You guys are going to make a girl blush.
Right on. Cool.
like we got a quiet bunch tonight.
Yeah.
Leah has her hand raised.
Amelia, yeah.
Oh, I can unmute myself. Sorry. I thought I had to be unmuted.
It's a little PTSD from sub 2. It's okay.
Hey guys. Hey, I have a couple of questions, and then the insurance guy made me think of another one. But where is Bridgeport? I saw it was near Wheeling and like outside of Columbus, but yeah, I have property in Athens, so and Parkersburg.
I'm actually from Parkersburg originally.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I moved here about 4 years ago. My now wife, we were dating then. I did, so a little backstory on myself. I did union construction for 17 years on the industrial scale. So
Yeah.
I was on the road a whole bunch. And when I was on a really large job for 2 solid years, I got a phone call from my then girlfriend, now wife, and said, "Hey, by the way, I sold our house. Now we live in St. Clairsville, Ohio." So, which was, I thought, super sweet of her to let me know. So that way I didn't go break into somebody's house when I came home on, the random weekend. But Bridgeport is essentially, we're 2 minutes away from Wheeling, but on Interstate 70, we're almost right in the middle of Columbus to Pittsburgh. So we're about an hour and 10 minutes to Pittsburgh. We're about 2 hours to Columbus. So we're very, very close to kind of that middle bridge where you could go to one or the other, but still have small town America. So
Cool beans. So not close to Athens, not too close to Athens or
You
Parkersburg.
want him to be your property manager? Is that why you're asking all that?
Athens is about 2.5 hours away. Parkersburg is only about an hour and a half away. Now,
Yeah.
I will not say that we are going to do this in the next 3 months, but where there is a 12-month span where we will be in Parkersburg in the next year for property management and all of our other entities together. There is a plan in the next 12 to 18 months that we will be back in Parkersburg.
That's so awesome. Cool. Thank you. And then, so my other question was just about like affordable housing because I know like I tried to get into it here and there were just so many like loopholes that we had to go through. And then like with government funding like being cut, like it actually killed a deal that I was like working on. And so I was just wondering where you guys are in that phase and like what it looks like in Ohio because it's like we had to have like triple pane windows and high energy efficient this and that and it costs like where it would normally cost me like I don't know 300,000 to build out a unit it was costing me like 700,000 here which was fine because somebody like we had people paying for it but I just didn't know what it looked like there.
So I'll speak on the construction side. So we had the fire marshal come in and do a walkthrough with us before we even stepped into this entire concept of capital raising on this grand scale. And because we're small town America, because of these small towns want investors like me and Ingrid and Brian to come in and revitalize a lot of these rundown properties, rundown houses and stuff like that, it's like the wild west. So they came in and basically told us, as long as you don't change the footprint upstairs. Now this building is got all steel gutters, everything like that. All the walls in the second floor are all freestanding. None of them are load bearing, which means I could tear everything down, have one big open floor, and I could build it however I want to.
Yeah.
The fire marshal said, as long as you don't change the footprint on how things are laid out, you're grandfathered in on what the old codes are. You don't need to update anything. You just cosmetic update everything that's there. So to be safe, what we're going to do is we are going to bring in an electrician. I met with him actually today. I'm in the building right now. I'm actually in the studio. So I've been here most of the day, walking with the electrician, walking with my general foreman, kind of getting all of the updates that I need to be prepared for today. And then I film content and stuff for some of our small businesses in the area, which is another thing that our studio does. But ultimately, the electrician came in and said that our electrical service brought in is actually way better than what this building should have. I mean, it's incredibly updated. The people that we bought it off of was a civil engineer, and he had this stuff done right. So as far as updating the electrical, it's as simple as him going through and just verifying that the outlets are in good shape and the switches are good shape themselves. The actual wiring, all of the layout for the electrical panels and everything like that are all pretty close to what they need to be. Minus, we are going to independently meter each unit. That's the only thing that's not done. The whole upstairs is run individually. We're going to independently meter the apartments separately, so that way utilities will fall back on the tenants and we don't have a much higher bill. The beautiful part about doing it that way, it is more of an expense during the construction to get that done. But with the triple net leases essentially eating all the taxes and insurance, all of the rent at that point, if we can forward the utilities onto the tenants, all of the rent going from those apartments are essentially pure profit at that point. So it helps our total NOI explode once we get everything finished.
Great, thank you. And then my third question, actually, I do have one more, and then that's it. I'm just gonna dump them all out, and then I'm done for the evening.
We love it. We love it.
My third one was the insurance question made me think because we just had a building here that caught on fire, but it actually was not a total loss. And so the clauses that were in it for ordinance and then demolition were just insane and are making it really difficult to like rehab it. So for example, like if it's your grandfathered in there, right, for the what the fire chief said, but like if there was a fire and let's just say like floor th 3 and 4 were torched, but you had to replace, I don't, the stairs in 1 and 2. Like the insurance company is telling us, like, oh, we're not going to replace 1 and 2, even though you have to replace 1 and 2 to replace 3 and 4 because it's not up to code. But now they're only replacing what was the direct result. So, like, how,
I can't speak to your insurance policy, but that is illegal. I mean, they have to bring that structure, the portion of the structure that's been damaged, but they also have to go in there and make sure that the building can maintain its its future. So I don't understand how they would be telling you that their fire that they're responsible for example, would not be responsible for for fixing, making sure it's up to code. We have actually a couple insurance agents on this thing, and I'm pretty sure I'm accurate. So if you guys hear me saying something wrong, it's been a couple of years since I've been an agent. Send me some information, and I'll share that with you, Amelia.
yeah, that I was, and then also like demo, like,
But Brian, if Brian helps you figure out your insurance thing, he may ask for some equity. Just FYI. Just
fine.
FYI. All right.
He is a gator.
Something like this with the ordinance, it's like with the sprinklers and I don't know, whatever.
Mhm.
Offline, I'd love to, but and then the last question is somebody said something about a credit card, but then like something like what so you can do your bank account, you can do 401k, you can do self-directed IRA, but then I heard credit card.
Credit cards can be used to pay the 3% deposit. Unfortunately, they cannot be used to pay the 97% investment.
Got it.
And Ingrid, can you speak
Yes.
to the 3% fee? Are we not looking to handle that ourselves?
Yeah, we were supposed to cover it, so I don't know how that's translating, Kyle. Maybe if you
Yeah,
can clarify that.
yeah. So the fractional fees are actually a part of the capital raise. So the money being used for the fractional fees is actually part of the loan.
Okay.
Okay. So
So,
when they send the 15,000, that 15,000 is just the 15,000. It's not as if there's a 15,000 plus a fee. It's all incorporated.
It's all, yeah. So the fractional fees are all part of that 550.
Yeah. So we just want to make sure that you understand that 3%, the 450 on the credit card is part of that, and you're not paying. Ultimately, you're not paying that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not an out-of-pocket cost. Correct. Yeah.
Thank you
Cool.
guys.
But I'll take it all. I mean, where's the crypto option? Let's go.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Stella's laughing. She's like, "Oh God, not now."
Right on. Cool. We have about
Got
10
it.
minutes left. We're happy to answer any other questions you guys have. What else could we have missed in those slides?
Well, I just wanted to jump in here and just say how much I love you guys as a team. And Ingrid, you definitely know this. We had our lots of mini adventures in Scottsdale, and we went to the Owners Club retreat in Monterey. But I think for me, with my investor hat on, betting on the team, on the jockey is a huge deal, right? I think that even matters a little bit more than the horse, in my opinion. And so that's why I jumped right in. It's like if you guys are doing something, count me in. I love to be a part of this. We can really build our well, learn through the experience, and do everything together. And I know you all pour so much love and just everything into making this community a better place. So just wanted to give you all my appreciation and so excited to do this together.
Thank you so much, Stella. Appreciate the love. And I will say part of the thing that drives me is to also educate. So I am, maybe you might even get annoyed with me, hopefully not, with all the updates you'll receive about the progress. And again, one of the major milestones being able to move Eric's crew all the way into the building, and having some synergies in his work. So we are very excited about that. Is this a weekly meeting? We can certainly make it. Actually, we should make them vote. Would you guys like to meet once a week or bi-weekly? I think at least bi-weekly there might be enough progress there for us to meet. I don't know if we should do weekly, but for sure. Is that something we could vote on, Kyle and Stella? Like how often we can meet? Okay. Maybe we say bi-weekly or monthly and see what you guys think as a part of that. So Sergio, would love for you to be a part of the club, and then you get to vote on how often we meet.
There you go.
Awesome.
And by the way, I think we have some you guys, Eric and Ingrid, I haven't told you, but we have a couple of investors who have already kind of said that they're in. So we
Soft
have
commitment,
some of this,
yeah.
some of the, I think over a third of this is already raised. So
Yeah. Let's make sure they've logged into Fractional.
that's right. That's what we're
Yeah.
going to learn.
But yes, we did come with a soft commitment of between 150 and 200 as a part of our raise. So make sure you get in there before all the spots are taken. But yes, and then another exciting thing that you all may not know, for those of you who are in the Sub2 community, you know how we have the deal maker events that are ran through the golden ticket, the golden event that Pace has. Well, our project was actually selected to also present during that. And just so everybody knows, his family office has to vet it before they allow us to present it. So they vetted us, they want us to present. And so we'll be presenting next Friday live. So if you guys didn't get enough of us, you're in the Sub2 community, you're more than welcome to watch the golden ticket events. And we will be one of the presenters. I believe there's 3 presenters during that time. So
yeah, for those of you who don't know what that is, it's basically part of the community with Pace Morby, and in the room, Ingrid's going to be speaking. I like that. There's about 250 people in the room, so she's on stage doing her thing, and it's going to be recorded. And I think there's isn't there like 16 or 17,000 people in the community now?
yes. Well, no, collectively, I think it's 30,000. There's about 16, 17,000 in just Sub2.
Just Sub2. Okay.
So Dealmakers is open to Sub2, Gator, and Top Tier TC.
Yeah. So this is going to be spun out. You guys are the first to see it, quite frankly. This will be spun out to a lot of people. So
right on. Cool. I think we have time for maybe just one last question, because I think I saw Mike Ponce come off of mute, unless that was an accident, because there's another really cool event happening at 5 with Fractional.
Accident, sorry.
Oh, okay. That's okay. We'll just take your money. That's fine, Mike.
I received a call at the same time from another investment firm, and I didn't want to answer.
Good. You tell them no. Mike, you're like Brian, Eric, and Ingrid have my money. So sorry. So okay, wonderful. Well, again, thank you guys so much for coming out here. Amelia, I believe there's another club that's launching at 5 p.m. Sending a lot of love over to Doron and his team. But this is the one you guys all should be worried about, right? Okay, cool. Just making sure we all know that. But thank you guys so much. Again, myself, Brian, Eric, we really appreciate all the questions being asked. Hopefully you can see we're enthusiastic about revitalizing this part of Ohio. I've put all my chips with Eric out there. Again, he's our person on the ground. I don't want to say boots because it's beyond boots. And I do think that we're going to create some really amazing change in the area. So thank you all so much. This is just
project number 1, right?
This is just project number 1. That's right.
That's right.
Cool. So we'd love to take you guys along for the journey.
We already have 2 and 3 that we're scouting.
Right on. Thank you guys.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.